So bad practice biochemistry continues. Water bubbling away close to 90 degrees C. There's the reaction we had with the glucose earlier. Sucrose, no reaction as anticipated. So now we have a second sample of sucrose. Bad bucket chemistry, but it's good enough for the time being. We're going to acidify the sucrose solution because some people call it the acidified Benedict's test. So let's put some acid into there, and while we're at it, I'm just going to have a play and acidify a sample of the starch solution that we've been using for one or two other previous things. So I'm sure that's enough in anyone's bucket. So we've got sucrose, and we have starch, and we're just going to stop now because it probably needs 4 or 5 minutes to bubble and boil away for the hydrolysis, if there is going to be a hydrolysis, for the hydrolysis to happen. So we'll come back to this in a wee while. After a short interlude, this has been bubbling away now for about 5 minutes. And so we're back to bad science again. We need to neutralise this solution according to the recipe. Can't say I ever used to do it myself though. So we have some sodium hydroxide, or bicarb would be just as good, I'm sure, gentle alkali. So, not worrying too much about hot fingers. I wonder what get kids picking. They could burn themselves, couldn't they? Never thought about that. Okay, so we've got our sucrose and just a few drops of sodium hydroxide. Hopefully that's enough to neutralise it, and clearly I would check whether or not, whether or not I'd take a sample and just dip my UI paper in. I wouldn't be dropping indicator in there because that would just wreck the whole lot, but I might take a sample out and put with my indicator. So luckily nothing much on the desk. And this is the starch one I mentioned. So we'll give the starch a bit of a scrub as well, and round and round and round and round and round we go. So we're now, in theory, in a position where on the sucrose, if we have our yellow bead still representing glucose as we did in starch, and this now represents fructose, the red one, when they join together, they do not react with the Benedict reagent. So hopefully this hydrolysis has done that. Now we have 2 individual monosaccharides. Let's see if Benedict's can back us up and do that. So again, a bit more bucket chemistry. I'm just going to pour the Benedict's solution in. We might come back to do this with a little more subtlety and refinement afterwards. So this is the sucrose. Ooh, hubble and bubble, toil and trouble. So we have the sucrose back in with some Benedict's, and I say just to see what happens with the starch, to see if we're able to hydrolyse that. Bit of fizz, in it goes. A little bit of Benedict's left. I might just throw that in a moment for good measure. So our sucrose starting to do something, or maybe it's just what I'm looking through from this particular angle. Whether anything happens there, I don't know. Starting to do a bit of something, isn't it? It's certainly not so transparent. So we'll just let that bubble away. I might put that on to fast forward and look at the end point of the colours. But basically what we've done is to break the glycosidic bonds between those 2 sugars. So we now have many, many more individual monomer sugars. Let's just see what we're doing here. Okay, well that's starting to show some evidence of being Benedict style positive reaction. I did say it was a bit rough and ready in some bucket stuff, so we might come back and be a little bit more refined to show. No, I don't think it can be much more refined. Bucket is good. So we'll say that is a positive reaction for sugar, nowhere near as concentrated. Oh, that's good, isn't it? because that's going to show another point. We've got the copper oxide being formed here, hence the colour, and this is starting to sediment out now, and we'll think about the benefits of that at a slightly different date. Anything happening to our starch? Oh, not really, I don't think so. The starch must be biochemically very well glued together. I'll come back and have a look at that in a moment. A little bit of enzyme now into there would work a treat. So just to add our last little bit of Benedict's, I did say bucket chemistry, well, you can see no time at all by adding that extra copper sulfate based solution that we have a much more, blimey, we have a much more intense reaction now, do we not? You know, probably as good as that one ever was with the glucose. So definitely a positive sugar reaction with sugar.